I'm Professor Ron with Blackboard Tips and Tricks. Today, we're going to take a look at Padlet in Blackboard. So first, I want to show you where I'm at here. I'm in my Music Appreciation Developmental course shell here. I'm going to scroll down to Module 1, the Elements of Music. And what I'm looking for is where I have one of my Padlet assignments. So let's take a look at week 3, Elements of Music 2. This is our Music Appreciation course, MUSI 1306. This is really where I do all my planning and organizing and getting things ready before I export and import and or copy for a fall, spring, or summer session. Okay, so right here, I have Padlet 1, Are You Listening? I've actually created this as a gradable assignment. One way that you can do it. I'll click on this and show you around a little bit. Okay, so I got a few notes here. Padlet 1, Are You Listening? I've got a note in blue. Please write directly on the Padlet. In the Blackboard submission box, put your name, course number, and section. Now, I'm really doing that just so I can really have a record of students doing the assignment. Right now, there isn't a way to complete the Padlet on the app and then actually issue a grade for it. Golly, at some point, probably even as I make this video, that will probably change in the future, where that'll be much easier. Maybe it already has, but to my knowledge, we haven't got there yet. So typically Padlets are, they're class discussions, activities, they're really fun ways to engage with students, whether it be hybrid, online, or even face-to-face classes where you want to add some more, spice, funness, coolness to the class. So one of the reasons I'm putting the blue message up here is so when they actually complete it on the app, then they would scroll down when they do the assignment in the text submission box. They're going to put that information. It just lets me know, hey, go to the app and grade it. I click the heart in the app, and I actually issue the grade for them doing it based on whether it's participation or whatever the posted criteria is. So we're going to create this from scratch. Then I'll show you how to do it as participation and or a gradable assignment. So this is just my sample where we see S1 for sample 1, music and sound. There's all sound music. There's all music sound. And then I got a little prompt here. Enjoy this from the beginning to the end. I should add there, enjoy this from beginning to the end, and then share your thoughts on the music. This is John Cage, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Now down below, as I scroll a little more, I have another thing in blue here. Please watch the entire video and follow the instructions to complete all of your Padlet assignments. So it's a tutorial video that I've made that's on my Blackboard Tips and Tricks channel, just to help out students in my courses. But I hope it helps out a lot of people, just to explain some of the basics of Padlet navigation. Okay, so this is really the final product of what we want to be able to do today. The other thing I'll show you, I'm going to X out of here. We're going to go over to where I have it just embedded with the HTML. But really, let's see. We're going to go to week 16 where I have my final exam. Now, as you're following along, you'll see that the dates are actually already ready to go for, let's see, I have May, Thursday. So I've been tinkering around with the course. So there are going to be some dates in here as I'm changing this from the spring to the fall. So right now I'm updating the shell so that I can get it ready for fall 2024. Still, there'll be some different things that I'm still kind of working on, a work in progress to get that ready. Now, right here, you see Music Hall of Fame. Okay, so this is one of my Padlets, and I've just created this as a page instead of an assignment. This is done through a page. So I'm going to click on that document page. And so over here, I've got a course banner that I use. And right here, we can see Music Hall of Fame. And this is like at my actually ongoing Music Hall of Fame, where I keep this as an organic, ongoing thing for all my classes, just to share a few thoughts on the class that you took. And for this one, I just pulled it. Like you could do this. This one I just actually pulled it from the Padlet. So what I did was for this one, I didn't use HTML. I went over to my content market. And I scroll down the content market, and I'm going to click on Padlet. And then really from there, I just select the Padlet I want to use, which is, very, very cool. I could, pick one and change it if I wanted to. And it's going to put it in there and label it. Now, I'm going to cancel that for a moment, but we can do that. With HTML, I'll show that too later, where you can use the content market, and we can do this through the content market in our assignment. We can do it on a page. We can, embed with HTML if we prefer, get a little more, maybe more control if you like. There's options, and I think that's really the coolest thing about using Padlet. You can, using Padlet as an app on your phone, a tablet, computer. It's pretty robust, and it can be used on, multi-platform in terms of how it connects with Blackboard. And whether you choose to do it as participation or graded, you want to do HTML, you want to use the content market, put it in an actual graded assignment, participation. You just have so many options, not only on the coolness of the things you can do within Padlet itself, but the flexibility as well in Blackboard. Okay, so I'm going to come out of here, and we're gonna scroll back up. Let's go to close the disclosure triangle. Excuse me. Come back up, and we want to look at Padlet 1. Are you listening again? Okay, so what we want to do right now, live here on this live stream, is we want to recreate this basically from scratch. So let's do that now. I'm going to recreate this Padlet. Now, I'm going to leave this one as a placeholder. So if we need to double check, take a look at some of the things we have here. All right. So what I want to do, okay, I got some notes here that I'm be clicking on to the side as well to help me navigate the areas. So I'm going to click on the plus, and let's see. I want to create. Now, once I click create, then let's see, I can do a document, all these options. But the first thing I want to start with is I want to do an actual assignment on this, and I want it to be graded. Okay, so now for this assignment, let me pull from some notes here. Okay, we're going to call this Padlet 1. Are you listening? We're just really trying to recreate from scratch. That's the whole bottom line here. Now, I'm happy with that. I'm going to get out of there. Now, I want to actually go to create your assessment. I'm going to click on the plus there. Now, from there, I'm going to need to go to add text. Okay, from add text, the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to add some text here before I actually connect to the content market. All right, I'm not showing all my notes on the screen. I will be copy and pasting those so you can see. All right, so I have please write directly on the Padlet. In the Blackboard submission box, put your name, course number, and section. It's just a way to let me know that they've done the assignment. And just so that it gets their attention, I'm going to make sure I get this. Let's go blue. That subheader works. All right, now, what I want to do, all right, insert content. Right now, I'm going to go to my content market. Okay, my content market, I'm going to scroll down. We'll click on Padlet. Yay, almost there. Awesome. We're replicating the same thing that I showed kind of at the very beginning. So S1, music and sound sample. That'll get us going. And I'm going to do the same thing. I want to use my Padlet 1. So let's go get that out of there. Padlet 1, are you listening? Here we're going to insert. Awesome. Man, that is really cool. Now, I'm not creating it from scratch on the Padlet. I may be able to do that today where we go to the Padlet app and actually do the full creation there. But first, let's just see if we can figure out how can I grade them and or use them as participation. What are the options in terms of getting them in here? All right, I want to adjust this. Okay, feeling good about that. Double checking everything. Okay. I know I want to fix the text on the actual Padlet. Okay, I'm going to save that. Awesome. This is cool. All right, now I'm going to go over to the due date. We had due tomorrow. We can fix that. We can move it. Let's say maybe, because we're really kind of playing pretend here and just learning and tinkering. Let's go to Tuesday, March 26th. We'll change this. Say 11 about p.m. All right. We'll prohibit late submissions. You could leave that on or off. Totally up to you. All right. I'm going to move down. Okay. Let's go 2 attempts. You could do 2 attempts, 1 attempt. All right. I'll change the grading that I want to use. Really just setting the flow of the assignment. Okay, and I'm not going to use Safe Assign for this one. I will add just a reminder description here. So let's go assignment settings description. We'll put real short and sweet what it's all about. Padlet 1, are you listening? Is all sound music? Is all music sound? Let's save that. Awesome. Okay. 3 weeks, Tuesday, March 26, 2024, 11 p.m. Prohibit late submissions. You can do 1 or 2 attempts, points or percentage, 2 attempts. Okay, I got my description. Feeling really great about all that. All right. Now, there's something else I also want to add. So our next step in here, so I'm going to add one more thing. Okay, so now we're going to add text. And then in the text, I'm going to go back to my notes. And I want to put in here notes that says, hey, watch the tutorial video if you need some help kind of learning the app and navigating, Padlet. Sometimes technology can be frustrating, especially when we just have so many things to do. While we may want the quick fix, I can certainly relate and understand, time is precious and valuable. I think a couple minutes of a tutorial video could actually save time if you got a lot of things to do. So I do have a short little video that I do like to share. So I'll first put the text in. Getting from my notes. Come over here. Let me get all of the text in, excuse me. Okay, so I get my text in. I want to bring it to their attention. Hey, watch the video if you need some help. Okay, so I'm going to make it blue. Go to subheader. Now, after that, I want to actually put in my tutorial video. So from there, I'll go to YouTube video. All right, and I'm going to put in Padlet hacks. I can see my video pops. I'm going to select it. The content displays in line with the browser allowed. The content displays as a link. Awesome. Good. We're going to put that in. Let's do that. Okay, we'll add just a hairline space. Then we'll check spacing on the bottom. This is not HTML, so you can't control every single aspect of how we're doing this. Okay. Please watch the entire video and follow the instructions to complete all of your Padlet assignments. Yeah, I'm good with that. Kind of a helping hand if needed. So we basically created this from scratch in terms of how to grade a Padlet if you already have them set up. That's pretty much it in terms of you want to grade it. Now, I've got my title, Padlet 1, are you listening? I've got, telling students right on the Padlet, on the actual Padlet in the app. In the submission box, put their name, course number, and section. It's just to tell me to, so that on Blackboard it says, hey, go grade my Padlet. Cool. And then if anyone has a question or needs help on how to use the app, whether it be from the browser or their phone or whatever the device, then I go through those things in the video. So that's I hope it's a help. Yeah, just a few minutes of navigation and basics. Okay, so now in terms of just doing the Padlet, I mean, really, I talk about this in the tutorial video where you can just click on the pencil, and I'm just going to put hi, and you can go write something beautiful. I mean, you're good to go. I'm just putting hi and awesome day. Obviously, I could put something of more substance and meaning, but really just for testing purposes, all I'm really trying to do right now is, of course, get the ball rolling here. In terms of how to do it, maybe I want to. It's a really cool thing in terms of all the stuff you can do with uploading and links and audio, video, and there's so a lot of cool stuff you can do. I mean, heck, you can do put a GIF in there, maybe GIF, however you would like to say it, but maybe like, okay, wow, I'll put a wow. We'll just pretend that I wrote something like really awesome, even though I just wrote placeholders for now. But how about this? We'll pretend for a moment that I wrote a better title. But again, we're just trying to practice here. And, I wrote like the basics, title, topic, headliner, and then here. So it's just one example of some things you can do. On the Padlet, you can also, if I want to go to the, just open in a new window, and you have favorites, your bookmark or favorites. We can, different things. So if I click this, it bookmarks it. That's pretty cool. All right. I'll do that for a second. Now I click on the opposing directional arrows. Okay, so it's taking me to remake. Now, that may be blocked. It all really depends on the settings. You may see it, you may not be able to do it. Let me come back and let me share. Okay, so I'm going to close this one. We're going to go back to the other tab. There we go. All right. So we're back to the assignment tab. So if I actually click on the star favorites bookmark, I click on the opposing directional arrows, remake. If I click on here, arrow, it's going to share it. You see the screen pop up, or like, hey, you want to share this? What do you want to do with all the share settings? You can change all the permissions and privacy, whether it's, organization, secret. I've made this one organization where anybody at, where I'm at here, STC, South Texas College, anybody could actually see it. Typically, most of us are going to do secret to keep it just inside the class where it's not available or open to people in your institution unless they're actually enrolled in the class. So we'll go ahead and change this one to secret. Okay, and just mentioned earlier about HTML. So I can embed it in it can use the HTML and actually put it, website. I can use HTML and put it on Blackboard. So here's my code. Just copy and paste the code. We may try that later. Here we go. Bring that tab back. All right, so we're back in the assignment tab. All right, and then for most students doing Padlets, what I was doing earlier, where you just click on the plus, becomes a pencil, you can type on it, scroll right there. That's if you're doing it on Blackboard. They're not doing it on their phone or tablet or whatever. They want to do it. Well, if they could be doing it on their phone, but they're actually doing the Padlet from within Blackboard, browser, all that business. Then they can click it and do it right here, or they can actually do this to open up a new window. Let me share that new window tab with you, and you see it, pop up right there. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Oh, wow, it's right. Hi. Oh, wow. Awesome day. And I was saying earlier, I want to fix something here. Enjoy this from the beginning to the end, and then share your thoughts on the music. Okay, so maybe a little wordy. We'll leave it at that for now. Again, just a sample. We're always trying to make everything so perfect, but the whole point of the assignment is to, check out the video and share some thoughts. So it's a good starting point for now. Let's go ahead and update. All right, now we want to go back to our tab. Let's get back to the assignment tab there. I'll leave access to our HTML possibilities for later. All right, so we look at just all the basic icons and whatnot. Your bookmark, your favorites, your posing directional arrows for remakes, your arrow for shares, and then the square with the diagonal arrow where it would open in a new browser, and it just makes it bigger and maybe more comfortable for students if they're doing it on phone, tablet, computer, and actually logging into Blackboard and doing it that way. If you're doing it on the app, you just get the app and use it. Check out my Padlet tutorial video. I'll make sure to leave a link once we get to the end of the stream. So if you want to check out more details, you can check that out. All right. So it looks like this one is good to go in terms of, okay, I was saying earlier, hey, to make it gradable, it's pretty quick. So I wanted to spend a few minutes just saying, hey, like these are the icons, the star and the arrows, and how you open it in a new browser. There's another tutorial video to help, students and professors kind of figure a few things out on Padlet. But I've just made a gradable Padlet. So I guess the catch is, or only confusing thing is, you just have to have some kind of way to, send you a notification that, hey, the students did their Padlet, now you grade it. And that's the reason that I put please write directly on the Padlet and then put some information in the submission box, because then I get a notification that says the student's done their Padlet. And then I open the Padlet, read their Padlet. I'll make comments publicly and or privately, depending on the assignment criterion, what the discussion is all about. And of course, depending on if it's a hybrid, online, face-to-face. But either way, clicking the heart when I grade it, giving them feedback, whether it's in some form or fashion, publicly or privately, depending on that assignment. And important to get some really good feedback, and how they're doing, and referencing the tutorial video here. But that only takes, it takes a minute or two just to kind of get this going in terms of a gradable Padlet. And I think having a way to give you a notification that says, hey, they've done their Padlet. Honestly, it's not meant to be busy work for them to put name, course number, and section. It's just meant to, when they have to put some information in the box, they just put done or complete. They've got to put a little bit more thought into actually getting that assignment done. So this gets them to really focus on, hey, I need to do the assignment on the app, and then I need to put a note to the professor in the box that my Padlet is complete. And depending on how the class is set up, if you're teaching multiple sections of the same class, that actually can kind of be really helpful. Because if you have a master, you've got things cross-listed where you could, you have a pretty big number of students, but they're cross-listed, and you're trying to go through all this grading on an assignment. And so that can also be helpful in terms of cross-listing and multiple sections under a master, because you could a master shell, that kind of thing, whatever you like to call it. Okay, so the other thing we want to take a look at, we want to take a look at, okay, what are the other options in terms of just participation and or HTML. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. And let's go over to, right now you can see, so it's hidden right now. Just for fun, I will make it visible. Although really I was just doubling for practice, of course. Let me go up to, get to the top line. Okay, module 1. Okay, so now I want to go over to module 4. And in module 4, the next thing I'm going to do is, we've approached it as an assignment. Like, how do I set up a Padlet as an assignment? Now, this isn't like creating from scratch. Like I said earlier, it's like if your Padlet's already good to go, that's kind of where our starting point for today. So now I'm going to go to week 16 final exam. All right, and I'm going to go to Music Hall of Fame. And in Music Hall of Fame, this one is open. So what I'm going to do is I want to recreate this. Let's say that we didn't have it there. Now I'm not going to, I could erase it and start from scratch. I could put the image in there. We could take a look at, okay, cool. I've got, image from a URL. I want to have all this same setup. So I've got my alternative text. I want to take a look at some of this stuff. Okay, so we're getting our alt text, our image URL. I'm going to go down and take a look. It's going to be at the top of the page. And I edit this, and this is coming from, our not the content collection, but the content market. So we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to do this also. We'll go ahead and recreate one of these. Really, the only tedious thing about doing all this stuff is just kind of getting it going for the first time when you're new to it. Maybe you haven't done this kind of stuff in Blackboard. Okay, so this one is actually not graded. This one is just created, in a page. All right. I'm going to double check all the screen stuff that I'm sharing. Let me go. Okay, great. Now I want to basically just go down. So we're doing what we did earlier. We're going to recreate. Okay, I'm going to my plus. I want to create. Okay, now earlier, so I did an assignment. Instead of an assignment, actually creating an actual assignment that's graded, I want to do a document. Okay, now here's where it's really, really cool. So I can add content, I can add HTML, upload from computer, upload from cloud storage, browse content collection. So first thing, why don't we start with add content? And with add content, got my imaginary notes that you can't see. So you see me copy and pasting throughout the video. So I'm just keeping those hidden there. But at any rate, I copied all that into my notes, so you'll see me go pretty quickly here. So now I've created the assignment. I got the document. I'm going to rename. Okay, let's go up here, new document. Awesome. There we go. All right. Now we want to come over here. All right. And we want to go to content market. All right. I'm going to scroll down until I see Padlet. And I click it. All right. And I'm looking for Hall of Fame. You see it. And then, cool. That's looking good. I'm going to insert. That's it. Good to go. Take off some of that. Okay. I'm going to save that. The other thing I had that I was going to add also is let's do add content. We'll do image from a URL. Okay, I'm going to go to my notes here. Now I'm going to put my alt text. This is a colorful splash of music. Here's my alternative text. Insert. And we're good to go there. Basically recreating. I think that's important. Like you see the finished product actually before I do it, and then you see me replicating that. I was just thinking, hope I don't miss anything. Hey, we're live. It's all good. I may miss something. I'll certainly double check as we go. I feel good about this. This is Music Hall of Fame. Got my colorful music image, and it's all in there, and they can do it here, right here with the plus. It they turns into a pencil. They can open it in the browser, however they'd like to do it. So now, the other way with Padlets that if you wanted to do, and I could. Now this is my with my practice shell or my developmental shell that I use. I'm going to leave, the stuff that I'm tinkering with, as you heard me talk about. I'm spending some time kind of getting ready for this one is going to be used for fall 2024. So I'm slowly working on getting dates updated. And I did also make a video about mass date changes. So, and how you can do them in basically 60 seconds or less. I'll leave a description in there as well. Since I have used this for my training videos, sometimes things get tinkered with a lot in these live streams and videos that I make, because this is what I'm using for the training videos as well as for my own prep for all of my college courses that I teach here as a professor. Okay. Now let's create with HTML. So click on the plus. I'm going to create. Now I want to do document, and I'm going to do add HTML. Okay, now let me show you the page. So to add the HTML, I need to go over. I'm on now I'm on the Padlet. I'm on share, embed in your blog or a website. Okay, copy Padlet embed code. Okay, copy that to my clipboard. Right now, I'm going to come back to the tab, sharing the document tab. Copy and paste. Save it. Make sure it's all good to go. Perfect. And I want to change the document title. Okay, this is Padlet 1. Are you listening? All right. Now, if I want to replicate the Hall of Fame, I could do that too. I mean, I chose Padlet 1, but I could go back and say, hey, well, you're doing the other one at this point, so we can change that. We can say, hey, let's put this one in there, and we can change the HTML. I can go to my Padlets, and what I want to do now. Let me bring the other tab up. Okay, so I want to change this. What I want to be able to do for now, I'm gonna cancel this for a second. We're gonna go out of here. We'll navigate to the original Music Hall of Fame. Okay, great. Got my Music Hall of Fame open, and I'm gonna click that. It's a square with the directional arrow. Okay, and I want to be able to share this specific one. Got on my blog or website. Okay, I'm going to copy this code. Okay, I'm going to go to the one that we're playing with. So let's get back to the new Music Hall of Fame. I'm going to go ahead and make that visible too, as we're just learning and playing with all this stuff. All right, I'm going to edit. Okay, and put that in there. Now, this is good because we need to make sure that that your privacy settings they're correct. All right, so I need to go to the Padlet. I've got to double check settings. Let me share that tab with you. I'm double checking the settings here. All right. All right. All the settings look good in terms of collaborators. I'm going to change that to secret. Okay, we're good to go. All right. It looks like I had the settings correct, but either way, if there is an issue with the settings, then just go over there. You can toggle it. I mean, if it's organization wide, for this particular one, I typically I leave it open organization wide, but changing it to secret. So I think this is the challenge in technology: is you think things are going to happen. You're trying to double check to make sure everything's looking good and it's organized, and that all the settings are right on the money where they need to be. And refresh this page. I double check the share screen, looking good. Music Hall of Fame, cool things in music. I've refreshed it. Collaboration, okay, link privacy. Link privacy is secret. Okay. Okay, visitor permissions look good. Visitor permissions, I have writer. Visitors can write new posts. That looks great. Link privacy, I have it set to secret. Earlier I had it set to organization. So I want to change it. This is interesting. Change it back. So now it says this Padlet is restricted to users in your organization. Visitors not in your organization will be denied access. Now let's just see if this gives us any problems. refresh. Now we want to go back. I'm going back to, okay, we got a little oops there. We're going back to double check that. Okay, share this. Yeah, so that keeps popping up. You know, I'll have to do some more tinkering, but we'll go back and just change it to what we had earlier. All right, so we're going back. Set it to secret. And that should work fine. Yeah, I'll revisit this one later. We'll do a refresh. And you see we're good to go. So that's just if you wanted to use HTML, it doesn't usually like take that long, honestly. It's just honestly just double checking the settings to make sure that, you know, everything is great. Okay, but I do think that navigating through the pitfalls and things that can happen and or will happen. Now, if it's set to organization wide, there really shouldn't be any issues. So I will play around with all those settings in a future stream and or Padlet update video just to really make sure everything is working as it should be, and of course keep up with all the changes in the application. All right, make sure I share that with you so you can see the screen there. All right, I know I have a bunch of other things open. I'm going to kind of move things down. So now I'm just sharing with you back to the course. And if I hit module 4, the classical era, you can, and I go to week 16 final exam, you can see all of our experiments, you know, our music Hall of Fame, and basically the different ways we did it. Where if I click on the first one, you know, we got Music Hall of Fame, the image, and, you know, it's right there. And this is through the content market. All right. And then Music Hall of Fame, this, you know, replicating Music Hall of Fame, picture, good to go there. Just a replication with the title, the picture, and then the content market. We'll go back to the other one. Checking, okay, cool. Are we getting everything? Is it all good? Yes, absolutely. This is just participation. There's no grade for this. You're just having fun and having a way for them to do it in Blackboard. So they have a choice of using the app and or, you know, Blackboard, and then do it inside Blackboard or open it up in a new browser. Then the last one, which gave us a little bit of trouble today, but actually just doing it through HTML. You're just copying. And then if I come back and I click on edit, you can see the HTML in there. Thanks everybody for attending the Blackboard Tips and Tricks with Professor Ron. Hope you had a great time, and check out the other videos, other live streams, and check out where I go over, there's a couple other live streams on images. We got an image live stream. We got a video on like Blackboard due dates, like going from scratch on how to like mass edit, global changes, all that kind of stuff. So check out some of the other live stream videos and other videos. I hope today was helpful and hope you learned a lot and had a great time. Yeah, that's all I got for today. So, hey, we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. See ya.